Welcome everyone to this lunchtime webinar here at the RNN Group. I'm delighted to be welcoming you to this specific webinar on student finance and induction to student finance for 2026-2027 applications for higher education. This is, we know, a very important subject for everyone. Finance and financial support is a big deal and we recognise it, which is why we're putting this webinar on this week, which is our Higher Education and Skills Week here at the RNN Group that we're doing for our current students at the moment. But of course, you know, we hope that if you're not a student, you've logged on and joined us so we can help you with student finance. I'm joined today by expert Danielle Guest. She is our bursary advisor lead, and between her and I, we will be going through this presentation with you. As for me, I'm the Director of Marketing and Learner Recruitment, so I do get a lot of questions about bursarial support. Danielle, as the bursary advisor lead for the RNN Group, does that too. So between the two of us and this presentation, we hope we answer all of your questions. So welcome, Danielle. And let's go into the first slide, all right? So here we go. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to cover, these are the areas we're going to cover. A bit of information about the Student Finance England and what student support means and to do with that. So what support is available, how you access it, and when and how to repay. Now, I know for you guys out there, the most important thing is what support is available and how to access it. We really recognise that's a really big deal. You do have to consider when and how to repay it, but actually the government has become brilliantly supportive in terms of repayments for student loans going forward. And there are levels that you have to earn, which we'll go through of when you start repaying those loans. So let's go on to the next slide. So Danielle, do you want to go and talk about Student Finance England and a bit about Student Finance England for our audience? Thank you.
Yeah, so Student Finance England supports students who are from England entering into the higher education system. They manage the loans, grants, bursaries on behalf of the UK government, and it helps with tuition fees and some living costs. So most students will have the two main kinds, which is tuition fees to cover the cost of their course, and living expenses in the form of a maintenance loan, which that covers things like accommodation, food, travel, and study materials while you're on the course. You need to be aware of these costs to help you plan your finances and make sure you're accessing the right support for you and to make your money go further whilst you're studying, hopefully with the RNN Group.
Fabulous, Danielle. That's really so. Student Finance England, everyone, is there to help. All right, it has a website which we'll go through. Is there to support you with the application and help you do that with a step-by-step process, which we will go through. So, firstly and foremostly, there's lots of help out there, not just for the RNN Group and wonderful people like Danielle in the bursary team, but there are lots of people across the group and in Student Finance England that can help you with finance. So. The four types of support available, Danielle, do you want to just go through these for our listeners?
Yeah, so the first one is your tuition fees. So that's going to be the cost of actually doing your course. That is what the college charges for you to do the course with us. The next thing is the maintenance loan, which is in addition to your tuition fees, but that is the costs associated that you're going to come across while you're studying. So like again, like I said, the travel, meals, equipment. There is a student finance calculator, which we do have a slide on, which will give you an idea of how much you could be entitled to while you're studying. And then we have some additional support available as well through the HE support bursary, which is run by the college. And again, I'll give you a little bit more information on that when we go further through the slides.
Perfect. So, first of all, let's start with the tuition fee loan, Danielle.
Yeah, so the tuition fee loan, it can cover up to the full cost of your course up to a maximum of £9,535 per year. It isn't based on your household income or personal circumstances, and them fees are paid directly to us. It doesn't go to the learner, and then you only start repaying the tuition fee once you earn over £25,000 a year after you've graduated.
And this is something to remember, everyone, because it's really helpful, because you may not start on the highest salary job, even though people who go to on a higher education course tend to earn actually over 100,000 more in a lifetime than those that don't. We do recognise, and the government recognises, that first job out of university may not be the one of the highest paying, and as such, you know, you have current bills and things to pay for, you know, living expenses. So what they've done is they've started it at a higher rate to give you that chance to get your feet under a career before you have to start paying for that tuition fee. It's also worth noting that the fees here at University Centre Rotherham are much lower than most universities across the UK. So our fees for a full-time course are 6,900, whereas most universities are now charging 9,100 per year for tuition fees. So, and we have part-time costs as well, which I think is at 4,600 at the moment. So those are our tuition fees. That doesn't mean to say you get any lesser of a degree. For those querying why that they are less, we have our degrees accredited by Hull, Sheffield, Hallam and Huddersfield. So you come out with a university recognised degree. But because we are a centre and we want to ensure we can support our local community, our fees are a little bit lower. So that's something to bear in mind when you're considering university and higher education and a higher skills qualification or degree, and as regards to what you would therefore pay back after you left University Centre Rotherham. So going on to the maintenance loan, Danielle, do you want to explain to our listeners a little bit about this?
Yeah, so it's paid to in 3 instalments throughout the year. So the first one is done once you are enrolled on your course, and it is my team that then go onto the system and mark you down as being here. And then the second one is in the second term, which is around January time, and then the final one is after Easter. So you need to be in attendance to receive all 3 payments. You can use that for really whatever you want to, but ideally it should be used with costs associated with coming and studying on your degree while you're here. The amount you receive is means tested, so it does go on your household income, and it will depend on where you live, what you're studying. This money is paid directly to you, it doesn't come to the college. But just bear in mind that if you do take out a maintenance loan and if you did withdraw from your course, they would require that paying back immediately. If you saw out the term of your course, it doesn't require paying back straight away.
I did not know that, then. That's really interesting, and
Yeah.
really something that our listeners need to take on board, is that actually the whole point of it is to support you throughout your university, is not to support any kind of luxuries in effect. So you have to be in attendance to get this loan. It's paid directly to you. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, the maintenance loan entitlement. Do you want to just explain the chart a little bit to our watchers, Danielle, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so on the left-hand side, you've got your household incomes. So you can basically look at that if you know roughly what your household income is. And then if you look across the columns, so the first one is that would relate to us because we aren't in London. So that's the column you want to be looking at for how much you could potentially be looking at if you weren't living at home with your parents. If you do live with your parents, then you need to look at the end column. So if it is with you, if you do live with your parents, the household income will include their income as well. If you don't, then it is just based on your income. So really for us, we don't need to look at the middle column.
I was going to say, so it's just the first column or the second column and the fourth column.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people live locally still with family, so I
yeah,
would suggest the fourth column will be quite useful for people. And again, that goes down incrementally as your household income goes up.
yeah,
So it's a really good barometer. So you can look across and say, oh, I think your parents or or family or carer will say, oh, this is my income of 40,000. So you're most likely to be entitled to £6,642. There's an example there. All right.
yeah.
That's a really, really interesting slide in terms of just a barometer of what support people can get. Brilliant. Thank you. So the finance calculator, you mentioned this at the beginning, Danielle. Do you want to explain a little bit about this for everyone? Thank you.
Yeah, so this calculator at the minute it only shows for 25, 26, so it would only be an indication. It wouldn't be an exact amount, but it is still worth going on and getting an idea of what you could be entitled to for the 26, 27 academic year. We do have a QR code right at the end, which takes you directly to this calculator. But it basically what it's going to do is show you an estimate of how much maintenance loan and if you're eligible for any grants or allowances. And so it just gives you a bit of knowledge on what you could be entitled to before you start studying.
So it's like a tax calculation in a way, if you go onto HMRC and you put in your earnings and you look at how
Mm,
much tax you have to pay, if you put in and you put in a relevant pension or any contributions, etc. If you did this with this, like a finance account, you put in, what you need and what then you would get at the end what you're entitled to. So it gives you an accumulative amount that you may be entitled to by adding all those variables in. So this is a really helpful one to give you an idea again, so you can budget. This is one of the key things about university life is budgeting for your course. And this will give you an idea and help on how to, on what you may be given, and therefore how to budget that across the 10 months worth, let's just say, if you're at university. So then we have the additional support, Danielle, if you don't mind explaining this to our watchers, please.
yeah, so if you are studying on an NHS learning course, then there are additional non-repayable bursaries available for that. So these bursaries are again based on your household income and personal circumstances. So if you are thinking of doing something on that line, it's worth going to the Student Finance England website and looking at the information on there. And again, I think that did come up on the calculator as well. There's also scholarships. Based on the academic performance, and there is also a disabled students allowance, and there is also a laptop grant which is associated with that as well, where you can get £200 towards a laptop, and that is paid through the bursary team directly to you. You just need to get the proof from them that you're eligible for that, and we release the funds from that as soon as you're enrolled on your course, and it's as long as it's after September the 1st.
Can I just ask a quick question? So,
Yeah.
so we obviously have further education learners in the group who get
Mhm.
transport and food allowances. Do learners at higher education get the opportunity to get transport and food allowances too?
Unfortunately, we don't have a funding pot like we do for the further education learners. The funding that we have is given to us actually by R&N Group. It's an in-house funding pot. So a very small amount that we are given to support our learners. So the maximum we can give somebody, depending upon their circumstances, is £300 for the academic year. If we don't have many people accessing it, then we will give multiple payments throughout the year. But as an initial one, it's normally around November time. We assess applications and then issue payments then. Obviously, if somebody is really struggling, we will try our best to help them. We've given out food vouchers before, bus passes. But again, this is what you need to be considering when you're getting your maintenance loan, that can that fund the travel and the food while you are studying at college.
Amazing. That's really helpful, Danielle. Thank you.
Yeah.
So here is the student finance timeline. So obviously, people listening to us on this call will be looking at applying for university or higher education for September 26, 27, which I know sounds like a long, long way off. but it will be here before we know it. And so it is really important, remember, that to sort of before March 2026, you need to gather all your documents, passport, ID, bank details, household income. Tomorrow, if you are free at 1 o'clock tomorrow, we have a UCAS support webinar that the RNN group is hosting. So creating a UCAS and SFE, so that's the Student Fund England accounts, are really important, and you can hear more about UCAS applications tomorrow. And then March 26th, they open. So student finance applications open for 2026, 2027. And from then on, the deadline for new students to apply to ensure full funding at the start of term, and for continuing students for 26, 27 too, because Danielle, it's correct to say you have to apply for student finance and maintenance, etc. every year. Is that correct?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So it's not like you continue that every year, because, for example, your household income might go up by 10,000 during the year, and that would mean that in terms of parity, your maintenance support will go down. If you remember that table that we showed you a few slides ago, will go down to meet those requirements. So that is why you have to apply for this student finance and support annually. And then, as Danielle mentioned, tuition fees paid directly to university, maintenance loans paid direct to students in September 26 when you start. So generally, higher education starts in the third week of September, giving time for enrolment, for level 3 results to come through for those starting at university. And then a maintenance loan is paid, as I say, at the start of each term. As Danielle said, three times throughout the year, so each term. Did you want to add anything to that slide at all, Danielle?
No, only that if you do apply for the HE hardship bursary through college, that's normally around November. So it'd be like November 26. That's when the first payments start to be made for that.
Fantastic, thank you. So, applying for student finance. Danielle, do you want to just go through the slide with our watchers?
Yeah, so the first thing you need to be doing is creating an online account. So register with Student Finance England. Again, we've got a QR code right at the end with the link to the Student Finance England website. Once you've created your account, you then need to complete your application. So fill in your personal details, the course information and contact information. When it's specific to a course, you can get a letter from college which will give you like what the course code is that you're applying for, because each year we upload the information to Student Finance England so that it all matches up, so they know exactly how much the course is that you're applying for. You'll need to provide documents to them. So again, like Lucy said, make sure you've got all your documents ready before then. So you want your some form of ID, your bank details, and the household income information. And then once you're happy with all that, you want to submit your application and do it sooner rather than later to avoid delay. And then once you've done all that, you and the college will be notified about the process of your application.
Fantastic, thank you, Danielle. It just sounds really simple, but I know that when you do it, it will take some time. But we do hope this presentation gives you an indication of the how to. We recognise that uploading information, typing information in does take a bit of time. So we recommend that you do look at this, get everything together, and then spend a good 2 or 3 hours when you do start to do these to ensure you give yourself time to do it thoroughly. All right. So supporting a student finance application. So it's really important here. Parents or guardians may be asked to provide household income details to help the student receive the maximum funding. And it's really important that you talk to your parents about, acting promptly, giving this information. So there are no delays in funding at the start of the term, because the sooner you can get this in, the sooner you get your funding as you start your course. Danielle, do you want to just go through the 3 boxes with our listeners?
Yeah, so the first thing, you'll be asked to provide information. So it'll be like national insurance number, pension details, number of dependents in the household. HMRC then uses this to verify the household income, and then they will calculate the funding that you are entitled to from that. You'll then have to create your own student finance account to support the application. If you've applied previously, you can still use your existing account. And then once you have submitted everything, it can take HMRC up to 4 weeks to process. So again, apply early because if they're getting lots of applications, it's going to take longer. And then you're notified once your funding is confirmed. They will contact you if there is any additional information that they need. So try and get them what they need beforehand to avoid any further delays.
This is really good advice, Danielle. Thank you. So could I just say this, that I know it is frustrating if things take a bit longer in terms of payment time, but it could be because you have left it at the last minute. So if you want to ensure you get that payment on time, you really do need to not leave it till August or July or June. You really need to be doing it from March when the applications open. It's really crucial. The sooner you do it, I know it's one of those loomers, I call it, where it's a big job and it sits there sort of hanging over you because it's a big job to complete. But you really must complete this because it's in the end, it will support you straight away with this higher education course. And you don't want to be worrying about the finances. You want to be focused on your academic studies and your higher education journey. Application top tips, Danielle, talk me through these.
Right, so submit all your details. Sorry, so submit your detail once. So you can submit more than one application. Sorry, my lights have come back on again now. Yeah, so you can apply for more than one course, but make sure you put all the information in. You'll be given a customer reference number, so this will link all applications together, so make sure you use that and keep checking your emails because they could be asking for more information and they might be giving you the good news that you're waiting for, so constantly check your emails once you have submitted your application. Make sure, I know we keep saying this, apply early. You don't have to wait for your exam results, but just get it in as soon as it opens in March, get on with it. Make sure you keep all your login information safe because this has got like your bank details and your ID documentations, and keep logging in to check the progress of your application as well. And like I said, just keep checking your emails because stuff will go to that.
I'm glad you reiterated that, Danielle, because what we do find is that a lot of our further education students don't use their email as frequently as they should. And could I remind students listening to this that most workplaces deal with emails daily. It is really important that you check your emails. Not only does the college email you lots of important information, but as Danielle rightly said, you could miss information that is really good news in terms of finance or requesting additional information that you need to organize promptly. So do ensure that your email is easily accessible, whether it's on your phone, you can check it daily. Even if it's once a day, do that to check. So it's accessible and you can then reply back with that information or make a note to reply back later if you're like me and actually like to send information from a desktop. But I keep things on my mobile as a reminder. So yes, do check your emails regularly. So Student Finance England repayments, Danielle, do you just want to let our listeners know a bit more about this? We mentioned this very much at the beginning about the repayment terms.
Yeah, so how much you repay is based on your earnings. So you repay 9% of your income that you earn over £25,000 per year. So you're not repaying the full amount, you pay 9% for the year. The money is taken directly out of your wage slips. So HMRC will link in with whoever you are employed by, and they will automatically start to deduct the student loan payments from your wages. And then the repayment doesn't start until the April after your graduation, and only if your income exceeds £25,000. So if you're not on that, then you won't start to repay it until you reach that. And then if you continue working and it's not paid off after 40 years, it is then written off by the government.
Which is amazing that that's the government give that, because not everyone is going to be earning £25,000 or over for
No.
a large proportion of their life, and we recognise that, you know. So it just gives people that chance to get these skills and have the potential of earnings for a job that they want to go into, but doesn't actually condition people to have to repay the whole amount even 40 years later. So that's fantastic for everyone to know that. Thank you, Danielle. So we've got some common FAQs. So first of all, Danielle, can I defer funding if I take a gap year?
Yes, you can. You need to let us know as soon as possible, though, because we have to inform Student Finance England. And if you don't let us know, it can affect your entitlement to further funding. So all you need to do is get in touch with us, and we can defer it for you for the length of time that is needed.
What if I change my course or university, Danielle?
Again, let us know straight away, because we need to update your Student Finance England application. We have to do something on our side, you have to do something on your side, so we need to know this straight away. But if you want to swap, that is not a problem. We can help you in doing that in the bursary team.
What happens if a learner has to go through clearing, Danielle?
You can update your application with the new course or university to ensure that funding is in place.
So please don't worry anyone who doesn't get the grades they want, has to go through clearing. Your application will still be there to ensure your funding is payable. Danielle, how do our learners check the progress of their application?
Check your emails.
Your emails, exactly.
Yeah, and also log into your student finance account, because you will get regular updates, tracking statuses and messages on there as well.
And for those who, I know I mentioned transport and food before, but can you get extra funding during your course?
We do have the HE Hardship Fund available at college, but again, it is only a small funding pot that we have, but we can try and help you wherever we can.
And I can answer this one because I did this. Can I work while at university? Yes. So I was at a London university, so I had to pay my way through my university. So I was doing weekend and holiday jobs. So yes, working part-time is great, actually, if you can fit it in. Don't let it detract from your studies, because your studies are really important. But if you can do a bit of work alongside it, it really is helpful in terms of practical knowledge. And actually, a lot of universities do offer on-campus jobs or local opportunities. For instance, we have student ambassadors, and we pay our student ambassadors to help with various events and activities going on across the site. So yes, on-campus jobs are an opportunity for our HE students too. Right, I wonder if this is the QR code page. Go for it, Danielle.
Right, so on here we've got 3 QR codes that are really useful, so please use them. So the first one is the Student Finance England's how-to guide. So this has loads of really important information that will help you in applying for your course, giving you information on what you can expect. There is also the student finance calculator that we've discussed before, so please go on that, get an idea of what you are entitled to. And then the third one is the HE Hardship Support. That's our web page, which gives you the information about the HE hardship that I've explained before, and on that it tells you how to apply for it. And then the box in the middle is for my team. So if you've got any questions, please give us a call or send us an email. I do have a dedicated member of my team who specialises in HE. And if you do want any help in applying or information, then please get in touch with us and we will try our best to help you.
Danielle, it's fantastic. So yeah, can I draw everyone's attention to the email address specifically? I know some people have questions, but we do at some certain points of the year, the team is inundated with phone calls, as you can imagine. So my suggestion would be to email them. They're really good at picking up the emails, and then they can reply back in writing, which can help you if you'd like to work through that information in the evening, for instance, when unfortunately our teams are not available. You can actually go through that and work through that information that they send you. So yes, please do use those contact details. And that is it for our presentation today. First of all, can I just say a huge thank you to Danielle for being on this call and expertly taking us through these slides, because it is a minefield, financial support for HE. We recognise that. And we are always learning ourselves, and I've learned a lot from this workshop. So webinar. So thank you, Danielle, for your time today. I appreciate it. Tomorrow we have our last higher education webinar of the week. We've had 3 this week, or will have had 3 this week. 1 o'clock tomorrow, it's all about UCAS support and how UCAS can help you and how we can support you with your UCAS application. So if you've not done so, please go on to the webinar page, book onto that. Even if you can't make it, you can watch it later, because we email that out to people. So again, a huge thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to you who will watch this after the webinar today. Have a great day, and thank you again for your time. Thank you, Danielle, too. Bye-bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.